Have you ever been in that situation or you're trying to explain something, but you just can't find the perfect word? Well, in this explainer, we're going to give you 20 powerful words that aren't about sounding smart. Nope. They're precision tools designed to help you think more clearly and honestly see the world in a whole new way.
I mean, really think about that. How can one word change everything? Well, the right word doesn't just describe something, it frames it. It gives you a branding lens to understand things like power, value, character, and even the physical world around you. So let's start building that toolkit, shall we?
Okay, here's our roadmap. We've broken these 20 words down into 4 key areas. First, we'll look at words for people, power, and action. Then, we'll dive into concepts of value and status. After that, we've got words for character and ideas. And we'll wrap it all up with terms for the physical world.
All right, first up, words that are all about influence, control, and social actions. You know, these are the words that really define how we connect with each other and just get things done in our daily lives. Our first word is dominant. When someone or something is dominant, it means they have the most power or influence in a given situation. You might hear about a dominant personality, someone who just naturally takes charge, or maybe a company with a dominant position in the market. The verb form is to dominate, and the noun, well, that's dominate. Next, we have delegate. Now, this is a huge concept, especially in leadership and teamwork. When you delegate, you're entrusting a task to someone else, and that word entrust is key. It's not just about dumping work on somebody. You always delegate a task to someone. The act itself is called delegation. And, well, if you can give someone a task, you've got to have a word for taking it back, right? That word is unassign. It's the clean, logical opposite of assigning or delegating. It's a really direct and useful term, especially if you're in project management, and you always unassign a task from a person. Okay, now for a simple, universal action, to greet. It just means to welcome someone, whether you're using words, a wave, or a handshake. The act itself is a greeting. It's a small word for sure, but it describes a really vital social function, like when you warmly greet an old friend you haven't seen in ages. Let's talk about populate. This verb means to fill a space with people, with inhabitants. And what's cool is that from this one word, we get 2 really essential related terms. The noun population, which is the total number of people living somewhere, and the adjective populated, like in a densely populated area. Our last word in this section is transmit. This means to send or pass something, like a signal, information, or even a disease, from one point to another. See, it implies a journey across some kind of distance. The noun form is transmission. It's all about the movement of something, often something you can't even see. Okay, so we're shifting gears now. We've moved from actions to a concept that often drives those actions, value. How do we talk about the worth of things, whether it's actual money or, a cherished memory? Let's take a look. Right at the heart of this section is the word value. As a noun, it's just the worth of something. But as a verb, to value something means you think it's important. And what's really interesting is its range, right? Something can have monetary value, but it can also have sentimental value, which is purely emotional. So, how do we take that idea of value and kick it up a notch? We use the word precious. If something is precious, it's not just valuable. It's rare, it's deeply important, and you better believe it should be protected. Think of precious metals like gold, or even more importantly, precious memories. When you give something of value away for a good cause, you donate it. You can donate money or goods or even your time. The act of giving is called a donation. And you typically donate something to an organization, a person, or a cause. So what's the real difference between being bankrupt and being broke? They sound similar, but they're worlds apart. Bankruptcy is a formal legal status. You literally declare it in court when you can't pay your debts. But being broke, well, that's just an informal and hopefully temporary state of having no money. Like, I'm broke till I get paid on Friday. We've talked about actions and value. Now let's look inward. This next section is all about words that describe character, intentions, and those big abstract ideas that really shape who we are as people. A visionary is someone who thinks about the future in a really creative and original way. It can be a noun that describes the person, like Steve Jobs was a visionary, or it can be an adjective for the idea itself, like a visionary concept. A visionary doesn't just see what is, they see what could be. A tradition is a belief or behavior that's passed down within a group, and it connects the present to the past.
The adjective form is traditional, and traditions can be huge, like a cultural tradition, or they can be as personal and simple as a family tradition. Okay, now this is really interesting because it's all about nuance. Silly, malicious, and naive can all describe some kind of poor judgment, but the intent behind them is completely different. Being silly is just foolish and pretty harmless. Being malicious means you are intentionally trying to be cruel. And being naive, well, that comes from a place of innocence or just a lack of experience. Knowing the difference here is absolutely crucial for being precise.
For our final section, we're turning to the world right around us. These are words that help us describe, with a bit more precision, the physical objects and phenomena we see and interact with every single day.
Let's start with a simple one, fur. It's the soft hair that covers a lot of animals. An animal that's covered in fur is described as furry. And we often refer to an animal's entire covering of fur as its coat. Simple, but hey, it's precise.
You know when the word big just doesn't cut it? That's when you use vast. When something is extremely large in its scale or quantity, you can call it vast. This word really gives you a sense of immensity. Think of a vast ocean or a vast amount of information. It's a powerful upgrade from just saying big.
Shade and shadow. People mix these up constantly, but the distinction is actually pretty straightforward. Shade is the general area of coolness that's protected from the sun, like the shade under a big tree. A shadow, on the other hand, is the specific dark shape that an object makes when it blocks the light. So here's the key. You can sit in the shade, but you cast a shadow.
So what do a necklace, an earring, and a bracelet all have in common? I mean, yeah, they're all individual items, but the one word that groups them all together is accessory. An accessory is something extra that you add to your outfit to complete or enhance your look. It's a category word. And that's our 20 words, covering everything from power and value to character and the physical world. But, knowing them is just the first step. The real question is the one right here. Now that you have 20 new tools in your toolkit, what are you going to build with them?